In September 1978, Jimmy Carter persuaded Anwar Sadat of Egypt and Menachem Begin of Israel to sign a peace treaty that ended 30 years of war. But not even the president's crowning achievement eliminated the fear that his idealistic foreign policy was no match for his enemies. By the end of the year, the Soviets had invaded Afghanistan, and Ayatollah Khomeini had trapped Mr. Carter in the White House. On November the 4th, 1979, word reached Tehran that the Shah had been granted asylum in America.
That morning, I looked out my window. Iranian students had been climbing over the walls of the embassy with photographs of Khomeini on their chest and yelling Marg Bar America, death to America. They made a beeline straight to my office.
The U.S. Embassy in Tehran has been invaded and occupied by Iranian students. The Americans inside have been taken prisoner.
I was tied up, blindfolded. I started to think about family and started to think about, would I live through the rest of the night?
For quite a while, we didn't know that Barry was a hostage. When I first got the State Department on the phone, they were unsure of exactly what had happened. They weren't sure how many people were being held.
Week after week went by. Finally, at Christmas, the Iranians allowed a visit by American clergy. They let cameras in.
We saw Barry come out, and he had a big smile on his face, and we were kind of sitting there laughing because he was collecting all these oranges, you know, and fruits and whatever he could find. We all felt rather good because he looked good. Little did we know that they had been kept tied up to chairs 24 hours a day.
The continuing crisis was punctuated with daily displays of hatred orchestrated for the American news media. Unless the Shah was returned to Tehran for trial, Ayatollah Khomeini refused to release the hostages.
At church, people would say a prayer for the hostages. Yellow ribbons was in my house, in my neighbors' yards, and people had yellow ribbons everywhere.
There were thousands of letters coming to the embassy. When I received a letter from Barbara, it was almost a religious experience. I'd take the letter, I'd put it down, face up, and then look at it for a while. It was this little snippet of their life. Read it once, then read it twice. Must have read it 20 or 30 times. But I couldn't get enough of it. One would like the United States to rescue you, either bombing Iran or possibly invading Iran, or the John Wayne syndrome. But I knew that was absolutely ridiculous.
April the 25th, 1980.
I was sleeping peacefully. The phone rang. I picked it up. It was Pat Caddell, the president's pollster, shouting, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. You tell me." And he said, "Turn on the TV."
Late yesterday, I canceled a carefully planned operation which was underway in Iran. Two of our American aircraft collided on the ground.
I just remember being so blown, I mean, so stunned. I mean, just so sick to my stomach. Here we are, the most powerful country in the world, and the images, the helicopters there.
There was no fighting, there was no combat. But to my deep regret, 8 of the crewmen of the 2 aircraft which collided were killed.
To think that 8 other Americans had given their lives. It was totally devastating.
I found an Iranian newspaper, and I translated it to everybody in my cell. We all sat there, glassy-eyed, and we didn't speak to each other, because we knew that other people died for us.